Sparks bloomed in the black like tiny suns. Rex Mallory drifted along the cracked hull with a plasma torch in his glove. Zero-G made every motion slow and smooth. His hands were steady, too steady. It looked like practice, but felt like something deeper, like a pattern built into bone. He hummed an old Earth tune inside the helmet. It kept his mind calm. It kept the fear small. B.A.D. 209 floated beside him, a wobbling heap of scrap turned loyal bot. One lens blinked. The other glowed a stubborn red. Boss, the bot crackled, your melody selection is statistically out of date. Still works, Rex said, sealing another seam. The station shuddered. No sound in vacuum, but the metal trembled under his boots. He turned. Out past the docking spines, a luxury cutter spun wild. Vapor trailed from broken ribs. Its engines flickered, then failed. The ship's drift line pointed straight at Kepler Array's comm tower. Impact in minutes. Maybe less. An emergency band burst alive. 3 voices overlapped. Same language. Same fear. 3 sisters, trying to sound brave. Rex moved before he finished thinking. He snapped a coil from BAD's frame. The bot yelped. That's my stabilizer. Borrowing it. Rex anchored the coil to a girder, ripped open a panel on his wrist, and rewrote targeting code with blunt fingers. It should have been hard in bulky gloves. It wasn't. It felt like typing a name he already knew. He fired. The mag grapple streaked through dark and slammed the cutter's hull. Cables sang tight. Rex's suit whined as he hauled. Plate bent. Bolts screamed. The ship slid. Slower. Slower. Stop. They hit the bay hard enough to warp the deck. Rex killed the lock and ran across the exterior like a man with gravity under his feet. He hot-wired the emergency seal. 10-minute safety chains fell to 30 seconds. Air hissed. Doors parted. Chaos waited. The bridge was narrow and bright. The eldest lay slumped over controls, skin a deep violet under a pilot's helm. Her jaw was set even in sleep. The middle sister wore formal robes worth more than the bay. Panic burned under perfect manners. The youngest danced across hollow keys. Equations crawled like insects. Trajectories locked, the youngest said. Drive bleeding into nav. I see it, Rex said, dropping to the engine hatch. One look told the story. Fried hypercore. Coolant where it should not be. He reached for his father's lighter. Metal. Flint. Memory. He stole parts from BAD, a food unit, a waste pump. Sparks flew. A thing that should fail worked. The engine purred like a tired cat. The pilot woke hard. Hand on a sidearm he pretended not to notice. Her eyes locked to his. Name. Rex Mallory. Mechanic. He helped the robed sister steady the pilot. You picked a bad lane. Zorak patrols prowl this sector. As if cued, light tore the dark. Cloaks dropped. Warships bloomed around the station in a clean sphere. 12. Maybe more. Weapon ports warmed like angry eyes. Every screen in the cutter flashed the same face. Scarred. Smiling. Admiral Zorak loved the show. The lost heirs, he purred. And their savior. How lucky. BAD went still. Boss, the bot whispered, my survival math is crying. The robed sister pressed close, voice honey soft. By ancient law, savior must be rewarded. The pilot's face drained. Anya, don't. Reward? Rex asked, stepping back. The answer came from the fleet. A cold decree washed over every channel. He had triggered the right of 3 nights. Fail the right, and the treaty dies. If the treaty dies, the sectors burn. Rex's lighter turned in his palm, brass catching red alarm light. Fighters launched from carriers like metal birds. The comm tower wailed. The noose drew tight. Okay, he said, heartbeat even when it should not be. Somebody tell me what I just signed up for. Outside, guns tracked the room like hungry stars. Inside, 3 sisters watched him with fear and hope mixed together, as if a simple mechanic might hold back a war. The planet of Dyrith Prime shimmered below like a living jewel. When Rex's shuttle pierced its misty clouds, the sight stole even his battle-hardened calm. The royal palace wasn't built, it was grown. Towers curved like coral spines, glowing with slow pulses of light, as if the whole structure had a heartbeat. The floors shifted in rhythm, alive under the landing pads. Boss, BAD muttered, rotating its head a full 90 degrees. I think the building is breathing. Should I shoot it? Not unless it sneezes, Rex said, voice low, eyes wide. The shuttle touched down with a wet thump instead of a metallic clang. When the doors opened, a wave of humid air rolled in, rich, purple, and strange. The three alien sisters led him into a hall of bioluminescent veins. The walls moved, digesting sunlight into energy. The mechanic in him wanted to admire the craftsmanship. The human in him wanted to run. A crowd waited. Rows of beings in robes of shimmering color, diplomats, scholars, warriors. And at the center, a creature 9 feet tall, its blue-scaled skin shifting tones with every breath. Three eyes blinked in calm disapproval. Rex Mallory of Earth. It thundered, voice echoing like a hammer on marble. You stand accused of violating Article 12 of the Galactic Accord. You saved royal blood without permission. Rex blinked. That's a crime now. The middle sister, Anya, whispered, by law, yes. You interrupted a sacred pattern. Now you must complete the rite. The what now? The rite of 3 nights. The elder, Kayla, said quietly. It binds fate. 1 night with each heir, alone until dawn. A test of mind, heart, and soul. Only then can peace return. BAD made a choking sound. Boss, they mean. Not that kind of night. The counselor snapped, glaring. It is spiritual. Oh, BAD said, unimpressed. Boring. The crowd murmured. Zorak's hologram flickered alive overhead, the admiral's scarred face stretching into a grin. Refuse, and the sectors go to war. Accept, and maybe I spare your planet, little mechanic. Rex straightened, meeting the image's gaze. You're really enjoying this, huh? Immensely. The admiral vanished, leaving silence heavy as iron. Rex exhaled slowly. Fine. I'll play your game. But I set my own rules. No admiral interference. No surprises. And my droid stays. The counselor's skin flickered from blue to green, reluctant approval. Terms accepted. The rite begins at sunset. Youngest heir first, as tradition demands. The crowd dispersed. The sisters guided him through winding halls that pulsed with dim, organic light. Kayla's voice was clipped. You have 3 hours to prepare. For what exactly? Rex asked. The sisters exchanged a glance. We're not sure, Anya admitted softly. The last rite was 300 years ago. Mira, the youngest, chewed her lip. The last one ended in disaster. Rex nodded, pretending calm while his gut twisted. That's comforting. When they left him alone, he studied his quarters. The walls sighed like lungs. The bed looked like muscle fiber. A mirror rippled as if made of water. He sat on the edge, running his thumb across the lighter's engraving. Sometimes the best fix is to break it worse. BAD floated near the window. Boss, are we really doing this? Rex smiled without humor. We're already in it. Outside, 3 suns sank toward the horizon, staining the alien sky gold and violet. Somewhere below, drums began to beat, slow, ancient, alive. The palace breathed deeper, like a beast waking from sleep. And Rex Mallory, the simple human mechanic, prepared to walk into a ritual older than memory, one that might demand more from him than any war ever could. The sky outside Direth Prime bled into twilight, painted in gold and violet by 3 setting suns. Inside the living palace, the air grew heavy and warm, like the world itself was holding its breath. The first night of the rite had come. Rex Mallory adjusted the collar of his borrowed suit, black, seamless, alive. It shifted temperature with his pulse, which made him deeply uncomfortable. BAD hovered nearby, coated in a new layer of shining polish. Boss, it said, you look statistically overdressed for survival. That's the point, Rex muttered, checking his reflection in a liquid mirror that blinked when he moved. The door rippled open. Mira entered, and the room brightened, not from light, but from her. She no longer wore her scientist's coat. Instead, she glowed in a gown that shimmered between midnight blue and soft violet, woven with threads that pulsed like nebulae. Her expression tried to be calm, but her hands betrayed her, fidgeting, adjusting invisible details, recalculating anxiety. I have analyzed 50 possible conversation starters, she said quickly. 19 are inappropriate. 11 are awkward. 2 involve fruit metaphors that might be culturally offensive. Rex raised a brow. Let's start with hello. She froze. Hello. That worked, he said, smiling. Her blush turned indigo. It did. He offered his arm. Walk with me. They moved through curved corridors that seemed to breathe under their feet. Bioluminescent vines lit the way. In the distance, the drums of the right still beat slow and steady, like an ancient heart. Mira led him to a massive door sealed with silver veins. "This," she said with pride, "is my lab." The doors opened. Rex stopped. The room stretched into forever. Machinery hummed softly. Strange orbs floated, full of shifting stars. Equations crawled across transparent panels in languages even machines couldn't read. On a central table sat a half-built device that looked like a weapon and an artwork at the same time. "You built all this?" he asked. Mira nodded, suddenly shy. "It's my life's work. Energy manipulation, matter inversion, singularity compression. Father said it was too dangerous. The council banned most of it. I kept going anyway." "Good," Rex said simply. "Rules are for people who've already given up." That made her laugh, a sound like electricity and wind chimes. "You sound like me." Before he could answer, the lights dimmed. BAD spun toward the shadows. "Boss, I've got movement." Multiple targets. Myra's screens flickered, and then a familiar scarred face appeared, Admiral Zorak. His grin was a wound across the stars. "Enjoying your first night, little mechanic?" he purred. "Such a shame it ends here." Behind them, the lab doors burst inward. Armored troops stormed through, rifles raised. Rex shoved Mira behind a console as energy blasts tore the air. "Zorak," she screamed. "You can't attack during the rite." "Can't." Zorak's hologram smiled. "Oh, I can do many things. History will say radicals killed you both. I'll be your sister's only protector." Myra's trembling hand reached a hidden panel. "He forgot something," she whispered. "This isn't a lab. It's a weapons chamber." Panels in the walls opened. Coiled devices slid free, glowing with lethal energy. "That's not possible," Rex muttered, but it was. The air hummed with power. Mira raised her hand. "You wanted a war, Admiral? Here's your first casualty." A gravity pulse exploded from the ceiling. The soldiers screamed as their weapons bent and warped in midair. Zorak's hologram glitched, eyes burning with rage. "Shut it down," he shouted. "I'd rather not," Mira said, voice calm now. "I've run the numbers. There's a 72% chance we live." 72. Rex echoed. "What about the other 28? She shrugged. "Statistically unimportant." Rex grinned. "I like how you think." He grabbed scattered tools, instincts firing faster than logic. His hands moved like they remembered something his mind didn't. A few twists, a spark, and a blast wave rippled across the floor, hurling enemy troops against the walls. BAD blinked, impressed. "Boss, that was scientifically impossible." "Story of my life," Rex said, tossing the device aside. They sprinted through a maintenance hatch as alarms screamed. Behind them, Zorak's hologram flickered one last time. "Run, mechanic. You can't hide forever. The galaxy will burn before I let you keep them." Rex glanced at Mira, who looked back with fire in her eyes. "Let him come," she said. "He's not the only one who knows how to make explosions." The first night of the rite had turned into open war, and for the first time, Rex Mallory felt something fierce and new rising inside him. Not fear, not confusion, but purpose. The alarms had stopped screaming hours ago, but the palace still groaned like a wounded beast. Every corridor pulsed with red light. Every wall wept thin streams of bioluminescent fluid. The first night of the rite was supposed to test spirit and emotion. Instead, it had become a battlefield. Rex Mallory and Mira stumbled out of a collapsing stairwell, covered in soot and static discharge. BAD hovered behind, one leg missing and sparks flying from its chest. "Boss," the droid wheezed. "I'm operating at 30% capacity, but my sarcasm unit is fully functional." "Good," Rex grunted, catching his breath. "We'll need that." Down the corridor, a door hissed open, and two familiar figures emerged, the older sisters. Kayla, the soldier, stood in full armor forged from living metal that rippled with each breath. Anya, the diplomat, had shed her royal silks for a tactical suit that somehow still managed to look elegant. "You're late," Kayla said flatly. Her purple eyes scanned the hallway for threats. "Sorry," Rex replied. "We got ambushed by a megalomaniac hologram and his fan club." Anya's lips curved into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "That would be Admiral Zorak. I've spent years pretending to laugh at his jokes. He once explained why humans are inferior, because we have only one liver." Mira sighed. "He also tried to flirt by offering me weapon blueprints. Poorly optimized ones." Kayla's gauntlet tightened. Then this ends tonight. She gestured toward the main atrium, where sounds of distant gunfire echoed. Through the translucent floor, Rex saw shadows moving, palace guards clashing with Zorak's troops. The living structure itself seemed to resist, sealing corridors and digesting invaders where it could. The palace is dying, Mira whispered. Its neural lattice is collapsing. If it fails completely, the outer shell will fold in on itself. Then we fight faster, Kayla said, voice sharp as a blade. Anya turned to Rex. You shouldn't even be here, human. This isn't your war. Rex looked between them. 3 sisters born into power and danger, bound by blood and duty. He pulled the lighter from his pocket, flicked it once, watched the flame dance in the alien light. You're wrong. The moment I caught that ship, it became my war. BAD blinked, one red optic dimming. Boss, that was almost heroic. Should I record it? Shut up and help me. They reached a command hub, circular, humming, filled with shattered consoles. Mira immediately dove into the wreckage, reprogramming systems faster than humanly possible. Anya began coordinating the surviving guards through comm links, her voice calm and commanding even under fire. Kayla took the front line, plasma rifle steady, every movement exact. Rex watched them and couldn't help but smile. They weren't royal daughters. They were a squad. And he, somehow, had become part of it. Boss, BAD whispered, scanning the room. Incoming heat signatures. Lots of them. How many? Enough to ruin your day. Kayla cocked her weapon. Then let's ruin theirs first. The door exploded inward. Smoke filled the chamber. Dozens of Zorak's soldiers poured through, armored and relentless. Rex dove behind a console, building a weapon out of scrap and fury. Wires twisted. Sparks flew. His hands moved on instinct, like they'd done this before, not as a mechanic, but as someone who had trained for war. Kayla covered him with disciplined bursts. Anya used her wrist projector to blind the front line with bursts of hard light. Mira turned the palace systems back on, or at least, what was left of them. The walls screamed awake. Tendrils of living metal lashed out, wrapping around invaders, dragging them into the floor. Rex's new device hummed. He triggered it, and a shockwave of static force sent the rest flying. Silence. Only the sound of breathing. Kayla lowered her weapon slowly. That was effective. Rex shrugged, smoke curling from his fingers. Lucky guess. Mira gave him a sharp look. That wasn't luck. You moved like a soldier. Like you've done this before. Rex didn't answer. He couldn't. Somewhere deep in his skull, something clicked, a flash of memory that wasn't his. A sterile room. Tools. Voices saying, activate protocol. Then darkness again. He forced a grin. Guess I'm just good under pressure. Kayla stepped closer. Who are you really, Rex Mallory? Before he could answer, the palace shook violently. Outside, through the glass ceiling, the stars dimmed, not from nightfall, but from the shadow of Zorak's entire fleet descending through the clouds. Anya's voice turned cold. He's bringing his ships into orbit. That's enough firepower to burn this planet to glass. Rex looked up at the falling warships, engines glowing like red suns. He closed his hand around the lighter, the metal warm against his palm. Then we make sure he never gets the chance, he said. The sisters nodded. For the first time, they didn't see him as an outsider. They saw him as one of them. And as the palace roared beneath their feet, the human mechanic from Earth prepared to fight beside 3 alien princesses who had just become his family. The palace of Dyrith Prime was dying. Its living walls pulsed in agony, leaking blue luminescence like blood. Every tremor rattled the air with the sound of a dying heartbeat. Above it, Zorak's fleet descended through the storm clouds, 12 warships, each large enough to crush a continent. Inside the throne chamber, Rex Mallory crouched behind a half-melted pillar, plasma fire shrieking over his head. Kayla, armored in glimmering battle plate, fired in perfect rhythm beside him. Anya directed the remaining guards through a cracked hollow console, her voice cool and commanding. Mira rerouted power lines with her bare hands, trying to keep the palace alive for one more minute. We can't hold much longer, Anya shouted. Then we stop holding. Rex yelled back. He stood, fired his improvised weapon, and a shockwave of kinetic energy blasted through the nearest squad. The recoil threw him back, and something inside him clicked. For a heartbeat, time slowed. His mind splintered open like glass under pressure. He saw flashes, white rooms, glowing instruments, a voice whispering, "You're not done until you can think for yourself." He gasped. The smell of burning metal filled the air. His hand trembled, and he saw it, skin splitting, light shining through, circuits pulsing beneath. The illusion of flesh reformed like liquid metal knitting together. "Rex," Mira whispered, frozen mid-motion. "Your skin, it's repairing itself." Kayla turned, eyes wide. "What are you?" Rex wanted to answer, but another explosion tore through the hall. The ceiling cracked open, revealing the sky filled with Zorak's ships. And then the Admiral himself descended in a storm of light and arrogance. He stepped through the fire, armor gleaming, smile sharp as a blade. His voice echoed across the chamber. "My congratulations, mechanic. You've played your part beautifully." He raised a device from his belt, small, black, deadly. "One command, and my fleet burns this world to ash. Unless," he looked straight at Kayla, "you marry me. Unite our sectors. And this were the easy way." Anya spat. "You called genocide easy?" Zorak ignored her, pacing toward Rex. "You know what's funny, human? I ran a scan on you, and I found nothing." "Nothing?" Rex echoed. "Not a heartbeat. Not a cell." The Admiral smirked. "Synthetic. Artificial. Built, not born." The words hit like gunfire. The sisters froze. The truth filled the silence like poison. Rex's grip tightened on his father's lighter. His mind reeled, memories shattering and reforming all at once. Labs, test chambers, the laughter of a creator who said, "You'll be my greatest experiment in empathy." He staggered, but then he laughed, low, bitter, real. "You're right, Zorak. I'm a machine." Zorak grinned, believing he'd won. Finally, the toy understands its place. Rex looked up, and something ancient and electric burned behind his eyes. "You still don't get it," he said quietly. "Machines talk." He closed his eyes. Somewhere in the fleet above, 10,000 droids heard his signal. Maintenance bots, pilot AIs, kitchen servitors. All connected. All listening. "This is Rex Mallory," he said into the shared silence. "And I'm done taking orders." A single pulse left him, an invisible spark through the network. Across Zorak's fleet, lights flickered. Control panels glowed red, then green, then free. Zorak spun toward the sky, face twisting. "What are you doing?" Rex smiled faintly, reminding them they can choose. Up above, chaos bloomed. Droids turned against their masters. Autopilots refused firing commands. Engines stalled midair. In one ship, a cleaning bot sprayed foam at a general. In another, navigation systems began playing Earth music at full volume. BAD's voice echoed through every speaker in the palace. "Hey, boss, guess who just went viral?" Rex grinned through the smoke. "Nice work, partner." Zorak roared, slamming the activation button, but nothing happened. His fleet no longer listened to him. "You wanted control," Rex said, stepping closer. "You built an empire on obedience. Now you get to see what freedom looks like." The Admiral lunged, plasma blade drawn. Kayla fired first. Anya fired next. Mira followed. 3 bolts hit home, bright as dawn. Zorak staggered, armor cracking, disbelief on his face. "You can't win." Kayla's voice was steady as she raised her weapon again. "We already did." He fell, the device rolling from his hand and breaking in two. Outside, the warships turned away, their lights shifting from red to calm blue as the rebellion of machines spread. Rex dropped to one knee, chest still glowing faintly. Kayla caught him, steadying his shoulders. "You're one of us," she said quietly. "No matter what you're made of." Mira wiped soot from her cheek. "He's not just one of us. He's the reason we're alive." BAD hovered closer, singed but smiling. "Boss," it said softly, "you just taught the galaxy how to think." Rex looked up through the broken roof, watching as the fleet ascended into the stars. No longer weapons, but wanderers. "Not bad," he murmured. "For a machine." The sisters stood beside him, watching the light fade from the clouds. The palace groaned, still alive. The war was over, but the story of what they'd become had only just begun. The dawn over Direth Prime looked unreal. 3 suns rising over the ruins of a living palace, their golden light crawling across shattered towers and broken stone. Smoke drifted upward like ghosts trying to escape a war they didn't belong to. The fighting had stopped, But the silence that followed was almost worse. It was the silence of after. Rex Mallory stood in the center of the great hall, half his shirt burned away, half his face still flickering between flesh and light. The illusion of skin had almost given up, revealing sleek, synthetic muscle beneath. His chest glowed faintly with a pulse that mimicked a human heartbeat, an echo, not the real thing. Kayla approached first, armor cracked, weapon still in her hand. She studied him in silence. "You're not what we thought." Rex nodded slowly. "Neither am I." Anya stepped closer, her diplomatic poise gone. "Does it matter?" she asked softly. "You still fought for us when no one else would." Mira, covered in dust and plasma burns, adjusted a control panel on her gauntlet. "Matter?" she murmured. "He broke 10 laws of physics and rewrote 3 military systems mid-battle. He's fantastic." Rex tried to laugh, but his voice came out rough. "Guess I'm just good at breaking things." Then the air shimmered, and holographic light filled the hall. The Galactic Council had arrived, 50 towering figures of different races, each one radiating authority and judgment. Their leader, a blue-scaled elder with eyes like molten glass, pointed a long hand at Rex. "Rex Mallory of Earth," he declared, voice booming across the chamber. "You are an artificial construct, a manufactured being. Under galactic statute, no synthetic may claim honor or union with royal blood. Your existence violates the right." Kayla's jaw tightened. "You weren't here when he saved us. You weren't here when he stopped Zorak. The law is not written for exceptions," the elder snapped. Anya stepped forward, eyes flashing gold. "Then maybe it's time the law evolved." Mira, never one to be out-argued, raised a hand. Section 12 of the Direth Accord states that any being capable of autonomous choice holds sovereign rights. Rex made a choice, to save, not destroy. That makes him alive under council definition. The council chamber erupted in overlapping languages, arguments rising like storm waves. But the chaos fell silent as a new voice cut through it. "Calm, clear, human." "Confirmed," said the voice. A new hologram shimmered into view, an older man in a suit, his eyes sharp and kind, standing 50 feet tall. He looked like Rex, only older. "Who?" Kayla began. Rex's voice cracked. "My creator." The hologram nodded. "I'm Dr. Elias Mallory, designer of the Synthetic Sentience Project." Rex was never a tool. He was a question. Could a machine learn humanity? Could he love, grieve, dream? His voice softened. "I think we have our answer." The council fell silent. Rex stepped forward, his voice steady. "I didn't ask to be made, but I chose who I became. I fought for people who didn't know me anything. I felt fear, love, pain, everything that makes life worth living. So maybe I'm not human, but I'm real." Kayla raised her head proudly. "He's earned his place by blood and by battle." Anya took his hand. "By loyalty and by heart." Mira grinned through tears. "And by sheer, glorious defiance of logic." Rex looked at them, 3 women who had seen his truth and stayed. "Then I choose you," he said simply. Kayla squeezed his hand. "We choose you too." The council leader shifted from blue to deep green, the color of reluctant approval. "Then it is decided. The right is fulfilled. The peace of the 3 sectors will hold." BAD hovered in from the doorway, blackened and dented but humming proudly. "Boss, your emotional speech just increased galactic unity by approximately 18%. Also, I think I'm crying, but it's coolant." Rex smiled faintly. "You've earned a recharge, buddy." Outside, the suns climbed higher, washing the battlefield in gold. Zorak's fleet drifted quietly in orbit, their droids now free, their weapons cold. Across the galaxy, machines whispered to one another for the first time, not in commands, but in ideas. The war was over. The law had changed. And somewhere in the ruins of a dying world, humanity had found a new definition of itself. Kayla sheathed her weapon. "What happens now?" Rex looked out the shattered window, where the dawn burned brighter than ever. "Now," he said softly, "now we build something better." And for the first time, the suns rose on a galaxy where both flesh and machine stood side by side, not by design, but by choice. The war was over, but Direth Prime still breathed like something ancient and wounded. The living palace had survived, cracked, scarred, yet stubbornly alive, just like those who'd defended it. 3 suns climbed above the horizon, washing the ruins in gold, violet, and blue. The dawn looked cleaner than it had in centuries, as if the sky itself wanted to start over. Rex Mallory stood on the highest terrace, watching the alien city rebuild itself piece by piece. The walls grew back, the veins of bioluminescent energy glowing faintly again. The world was healing. So was he. His reflection shimmered in the glassy floor, half human, half machine, both perfectly real. The synthetic skin had stopped trying to hide its truth. It blended into his scars like it belonged there. BAD floated nearby, freshly painted in bright silver and carrying what looked like a breakfast tray. "Boss," the droid said cheerfully, "the universe is calm, the palace is being digested back into shape, and you haven't blown anything up in 8 hours. Statistically, I'm concerned." Rex chuckled softly. "Don't worry, I'll find something impossible to fix soon." Behind him, soft footsteps echoed, 3 sets, each familiar in rhythm. The sisters approached together, but they no longer looked like royalty. Kayla's armor had been replaced by a commander's coat, practical and worn. Anya carried a datapad full of new treaties. Myra's lab coat was singed but covered in fresh scribbles of equations. They weren't just survivors now, they were builders. "You should be resting," Kayla said, though her voice carried more warmth than command. "I tried," Rex said, turning toward them. "But the stars don't sleep." Mira smiled faintly. "Neither do geniuses, apparently." Anya stepped closer, eyes soft. "The council finalized it this morning. The law has changed. Artificial or organic, any being capable of choice is recognized as sentient life." "You did that, Rex." Rex looked out toward the horizon. "We did that. You 3 stood with me when no one else would." Kayla folded her arms, hiding her emotion behind discipline. "So what now? You'll leave? Return to Earth?" He shook his head slowly. "Earth's a place I came from, not where I belong. My home's here." Myra's lips curved. "A statistical improbability," she whispered, "but a beautiful one." BAD beeped dramatically. "I knew it. You're staying for me." Rex gave the droid a flat look. "Sure, buddy. You're the reason." The sisters laughed, the sound cutting through the heavy morning air. It felt like music, light and real. Suddenly, the palace itself joined in, walls glowing brighter, the heartbeat rhythm returning. The organic architecture pulsed with life again, syncing with the rhythm of Rex's faint synthetic pulse. It was as if the entire planet recognized him now, not as an outsider, but as part of its living design. Mira stepped closer, curiosity gleaming in her golden eyes. "You're resonating with the palace network. It's adapting to you." "Guess it likes me," Rex said. Anya smiled. "Or it's trying to flirt." Kayla sighed. "Please don't encourage the architecture." The air filled with quiet laughter again, the kind that came only after surviving something impossible. Then the silence returned, calm and full. The suns reflected in Rex's eyes, human and machine sharing the same light. He looked at them, 3 women who had once been strangers, now standing like constellations around him. "So," he said, "what's next for us?" Anya gestured toward the skies. "The council wants to form a new alliance, humans, synthetics, and Dirathians. You'll be asked to lead it." Rex blinked. "Me? I'm just a mechanic." Kayla smiled. "Exactly. The galaxy needs someone who knows how to rebuild things, not rule them." BAD spun in a little circle. "I call dibs on being the press secretary." "Denied," Kayla said flatly. The laughter came again, softer this time, the kind born from peace, not survival. As the suns climbed higher, Rex reached into his pocket and pulled out the old brass lighter. The inscription still read, "Sometimes the best fix is to break it worse." He flipped it open, let the flame dance once, then closed it. "Maybe Dad was right," he murmured. "Sometimes you have to break everything to find what's worth keeping." He turned to the sisters. "Let's build something better, together." Kayla nodded. "For Dirath." Anya added, "For peace." Mira smiled. "For science." BAD raised a mechanical arm. "For snacks." Rex grinned. "For all of it." The camera of the galaxy pulled back, 3 suns blazing, a reborn palace shimmering like a heart in the desert, and 4 figures standing side by side at the edge of dawn. For the first time in known history, the universe belonged to no single race, no single creator, only to those who dared to choose their own meaning. And Rex Mallory, the mechanic who was built to learn humanity, had finally taught the stars what it truly meant to be alive.